Hi everyone, so this is going to be part 3 of Jay Slater being missing. It is currently the 26th Wednesday and it is 3:30 p.m. UTC time, GMT time. The news that I know is the news that I've shared in part 2's read. I've put a couple of clips. You all will be aware of it, and then also on my community page I put about ex-detective Mark arriving in Tenerife thinking he's going to be able to crack it in 3 days. I think the outcome, and I predict the outcome of this case, people are not going to be happy with what's summarized and is the outcome of this case. I think it's going to be similar in many ways, especially around the polarity of difference between two halves of the outcome. Some that feel it's rationally correct and some that just it doesn't sit well with them. And I feel like it's going to be similar to the Riley strain case in, was it in Texas? It was in the US. And I do think that there's going to be people that start to actually compare both cases. I feel that energy already coming up, and I can see why they might be comparing it. So that is also another prediction. What I want to do in this read is I want to actually check on Jay as we stand today. I mentioned in yesterday's community post that although a detective is probably welcomed, the last thing you want is the law enforcement of that actual country that's done so much work so far getting peed off and just saying, okay, we'll step back. Similar to how there was a plea for Portugal police in the Madeleine McCann case to step back, right? But that's also for a different reason, okay? So that, yeah, if you followed my readings on the McCann case. I also predicted in my first read that a lot of similarities, or, you know, there'll be the UK certain individuals, and I think this might be Mark, Detective Mark, and I put it in my community post yesterday, where the Nicola Bully's case is brought up, or the Madeleine McCann case is brought up. So before I go further, if you enjoy this kind of content, and I have a whole playlist, you can check them out, all right? And subscribe, like, you can leave a super thanks as well. It helps, especially with these topics. There's sensitivity around a lot of the cases I've done and words, and so even when my channel grows to a larger channel, there's no monetization on certain content, and a lot of it is due to the content that I've covered extensively for certain cases to get a voice out there. So those little things do help, but it's only obviously if you enjoy the channel and you're open to the varied content. I guess I should have really done a collective read as well, but it's a lot to try and keep up content with other things that's happening in our normal daily lives. This case has like a hysteria, hypnotic kind of following to it, and I don't mean that in a rude way. I also put it in my community post yesterday, and I think I mentioned it in part 2. Something that I was getting, so just to let you know, the way I read the cards is very intuitive, it's very energy driven, and it just helps me as opposed to sitting here meditating, channeling the energy. When I do that alone, it's more draining, okay, especially if it's dealing with dark stuff, all right? It might not be this case, it might be other cases, like the Madeleine McCann, for example, was one that really, there was a lot of draining energy and attacks and stuff like that. Not on myself, but in general, a blocking energy. So that's how I read. I'm not a traditional tarot reader. When I do readings on a personal note, yes, I'll do a Celtic cross, but if I'm reading energy That's not something that works in these kind of cases when I have my own sort of questions. But my layouts can vary, and that's because I'll channel energy. I mentioned about the phone being significant, and there is something about the phone being very significant. Now, I don't know much about this case, regardless of a stupid comment that I got on the first read. And what I don't really understand is, what I know is that obviously Jay, I don't know when he arrived with Lucy, and I looked up the GoFundMe, and there's something significant there that doesn't sit well with me. And I'm going to tell you, it's nothing to do with what maybe body language or statement experts say that she's over-explaining. No, because I think she's trying to get herself out there, SHIT, in case something went wrong. Firstly, my questions are, when did they arrive in Tenerife? How long were they going to be there for? Was it just those two? Because I've seen in the GoFundMe page, it was like me, Jay, and a friend. So there was 3 of them. Where's this other friend? Or, you know, or was Jay not know him? That would make more sense that 3 of them flew out. The 2 of them flying out just doesn't sit right with me. And I'm not someone to cause drama. If you saw the Dr. Mosley read, I did it, and maybe some psychics added interim stuff. I don't know. I don't watch it, and I don't watch full news, but I did it. I had a gut feeling directly, and I also mentioned some location, and I've never changed that read or whatever was noted in the description as pointers. So I don't like to read in to make drama or negativity either, and that's why probably the channel, along with the certain highlighted names, has maybe taken some time to grow a little bit, because we all love a little bit of drama apparently. So I hope everyone's blessed and well. A number 15 comes to mind, so this could be significant in some way coming up, right? It could be something that's highlighted to us. It could be he's found on the 15th day. There's something about 15, 1 and 5. I still think there's something about his phone, and it's going to come to light. And I was saying things that I'm not sure I understand. I understand that he called Lucy, which I thought was a text at first. He called Lucy like 8 or 8:30, and he said he'd pricked himself on a cactus, he was lost, he was thirsty, his phone is on 1%. What I don't understand is, have they checked, so they've checked that area where he was and he called her, but then was there a separate ping later, or is that where it pinged and they've just started looking? I also don't understand after that, what did Lucy do? I know that there's no timeline for me that says clearly. And also all this missing, when a person is missing, the first thing that's always said, and I do believe he's missing, so I believe he's been in a very bad situation, and I saw in the first read that energy was shifting, and that's why people have said that they've seen psychic readings, and there's kind of like similar things coming up which validates it. For me, there's a shifting of that, how far in the future that is, or it started, but I feel like the 23rd was a very significant day. But we could see in the cards that his health was not good. If Jay was living, which I believe, you know, the 22nd, 23rd were vital days, he was not in a good situation health-wise, and maybe I didn't elaborate that enough, but I know that I stated it. So after that, what was done? The police were alerted when. Then did Lucy go look for him? Because if she went to look for him, it's likely that, yeah, that's the question I have. And also, when did she fly out back to the UK? Now, I hope I've got it on this phone where I took a picture of the GoFundMe. Yeah, so the GoFundMe, which is at 30k, 35,630 when I check this. Can you imagine? Now, if you've, oh, look at this. I'm not going to say the names, but there's people that are actually donating £600. And I just wonder, what are you donating it for? Because it says, my name is Lucy. So the fundraisers from Lucy for Debbie, I guess that's the mum. And you've heard this, but I just want to let you know when I get to the point that I find is a little bit worrying. Or a bit, let's see how I feel when I reread it, because I skim a lot. Hi everyone, my name is Lucy. I have come on holiday to Tenerife to attend the NRG festival with my friend and another friend. So there was 3 of them that flew out, which makes a bit more sense to me. 2 felt very sus if they're not like boyfriend and girlfriend. On the last day of the festival, I left alone earlier than everyone else because I was tired from the weekend. I woke up to a phone call off Jay at 8:30 a.m. It's interesting I say 9, by the way. He was lost in the mountains. He wasn't aware of his surroundings. He desperately needed a drink and his phone is on 1%. He had met, okay, so I'm getting from Spirit as well that if they check the phones, if they check Lucy, the timings, and they check the phones once they have Jay's phone and other stuff, there's going to be able to confirm the missing gaps, okay? So something about that. He had met 2 people on Sunday night, so he'd only met them on Sunday night because I was a bit skeptical, but you know how you are when you're on holiday and you meet like someone from your own country, you kind of gel with them, don't you? And then you go to after parties and you continue. So he left with them to go to their apartment. Their apartment is miles away. So sometimes it's said as an apartment, sometimes it's the B&B. But it's miles away from civilization in a very secluded location. That is really weird, right? What I've seen of the parents and the mum, and I definitely think probably Lucy, is Lucy working class background. Civilization, for her to say that is like, I don't know, that just is weird. I just feel that would not be a word she would use. But what have I seen of Lucy? I've seen no interviews. I know apparently she's hid her face. I've seen no interviews. I've heard no interviews. I've seen just a picture. I think she's wearing like a white see-through top with maybe a bikini top or something like that. It's a picture basically. That's all I've seen in a news bulletin of like 2 minutes or something. He left at 8 a.m. and walked half an hour before frantically ringing me with his phone when his phone reached 1%. This was 3 days ago now and no one has seen or heard of him since. So the GoFundMe was set up 3 days after. That is kind of reasonable, okay? If it was the first day, second day, a bit sus. 3 days, kinda, okay? His last location was on an off-road track, which was 10-hour walk from his hotel. So he'd come off the road, so it pinged off the road. But I don't know why I'm getting that it's been pinged somewhere else, right? The weather conditions up there are terrible for someone in shorts and a t-shirt. This is where I feel like this goes into a bit of weird detail, right? But Seen as it's been 3 days, maybe it is in our mind actually someone needs better clothing. But when you really think of setting up a GoFundMe, I guess because it's been 3 days, you could come up with this about, you know, this. I can understand no water. He has no water for when it's warm throughout the day, and he has no coat or suitable clothing for when it's cold in the night. That's kind of like, I don't know, that kind of, I guess it's because it's been 3 days, so she's been thinking of like in the day what it's like and in the night. It was 1 degree and extremely windy when I was looking out in the middle of the night. We were all so worried and we just want him home. Please, if you can share far and wide, thank you for reading. But it's similar to those things, you know, when like a pop star can go and do one concert and raise like millions, and people work their whole lives and never raise anything. The world is a strange place. Right, what we're going to do now is we are just going to do a check-in, okay? I think people are going to become more sus. I mentioned about the police ramping up on the police searches. I think yesterday in the community I might have put about sniffer dogs, and I've just seen something about sniffer dogs. Again, today is going to start to get dark soon, so they'll probably stop. But it is a very difficult landscape. Okay, so he's definitely alone wherever he is, and he's outside. I mentioned in my last reading, it's really important at the time when I said it, to look inside as well. And then I also mentioned he's probably now shifted to be outside. Regardless, this could be a small cabin, but it seems like he's outside. And he's alone. I kind of mentioned... So this is what this is telling me, all right? And when I see 3 and 1, that is not positive. It gives a number that's not, that could mean final, kind of chapters. So, to me, this is saying he's alone and he's most likely outside. I just want to go into the tarot here. Okay, so Spirit is, I'm telling you what I've got because I know some of you are new subscribers or not, or just returning to view for this content. But if you're a subscriber and you're watching this, you know how I read. So I'm getting told to pull the 15th card here. So let's look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. This is why I was saying in the first read, the energy will shift, and I might stand alone because a lot of people are saying about psychics, they've seen the readings. I haven't, but I knew the energy was shifting. And we were getting these cards after I did the first row in the first read, and then I moved on. I said the energy is shifting, but it's vital. The reward would to people out, but if there's no movement, I'm not sure we're going to still remain in the same kind of energy. So you see how I channel and work with Spirit, and that's why I'm explaining as I go along, because I did also have a question and I felt like maybe it'll be easier because I know a lot of people are skeptical, but I also do know that my subscribers that have been with me for, on the content kind of understand how I read and channel. So you can see significant messages here, all right? Okay, so we will put this back. And we know that maybe that Spirit saying that's all you need to know for your energy check-in. And for me, it does tell me everything that, unfortunately, I kind of mentioned. But let's see. All right, so just want to make sure they're upright as they're all over the place now. See if they're mainly in the upright position. Yes, they are. So we'll start. You know, I'm getting told that the cards that I already got is really where Jay Slater is now, and the Four of Swords and his energy. And so I don't know how these cards are going to come out, because sometimes I also get psychically stuff without the cards, and if I rely on the cards, this sounds a bit woo-woo, but bear with me. Spirit prefers that I trust my psychic downloads. You understand what I'm saying? But we're going to do an energy check-in. But for me, the cards we got with the Four of Swords here says everything. He's alone. He is, you know, that's it with the universe. He's embracing himself. And we had the Four of Swords. Embrace yourself with the universe. And in the first read, we had a lot about certain chapters ending. We had a lot of cards that indicated such. But let's see. He took a risk, you know, he took a risk. It's led to a tower moment. I wonder if he's actually fallen down, okay, by this. So I do not step back from the fact that he was also held in, and we saw it in the first row, right? I don't say that, but as time's gone on, at the critical time frames that I mentioned, he was then left at his own accord. But let's go, and that is what's hidden. That's the deceitful stuff, and this is why I don't think what comes out is going to be. But I mean, when you're reading into the future, it's only God, the universe, or whoever you believe in knows the exact time frames, okay? But in the first reading, I did say, although there was energy that took place that affected the eventual outcome that we will get to, whether he's found, you know, alive, and if he were to be, he's in a state of kind of bringing him back. But if not, a lot of it was down to his own choices, regardless, because I remember the layout. I have a bit of a photographic, obviously, memory. I had the 3 cards here, there was the Hermit, and there was another major arcana, and there's one because I was asking for certain cards, and then here I had the cards where is it still significant, someone's involvement, or what I mentioned had happened, or, you know, in terms of others involved. Was this the major sort of playing factor? It was a playing factor, but there was more confirmation on him, all right? So whether it's, had he have not done this, or had he have not done that, had he have not done, you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. So let's continue with this. We still see a potential here, and this is where I said sometimes when I get cards that confirm, it's time not to continue, so things don't get too confusing. But again, he was held at some stage, all right? He was stuck, okay? And I get an energy that somehow he just felt he could make it, whatever, each chapter of the way, whether he started walking off again, and then he was sort of found and captured, then kept not so well, and then as time went on, it was a big risk and nothing was coming through to keep him in the state he was. And so then he's in this different energy, and again, not in good health. With this card, I get again from Spirit, the phone is significant. We got this last time, didn't we? We got this last time. And again, I get confirmation a third party has had involvement in this. And there is online messages, there is significant trails that would have helped. Obviously, they don't have his phone, but there is something around that, okay? I also get that after a last communication that he's done via his phone, things went wrong. So that could be the 1% where it did die, okay? He was walking on and then he had to come to a standstill. He wasn't well. Whoever found him, and things were kind of went down that path. Can you see here? This is where after that a very, very negative energy, all right, came in. There was some communication that would not have been the best communication, all right, and a lot of this energy is actual immature energy. What do I mean by that? There's no rationality in kind of the energy. We've got the 4 elements here, but they're all pages, right? And you're held by a very strong energy that's governing your decisions. You also see that there's 2 people here involved again, right? A third party is involved. This is also possibly where the dynamics of DRUG, the alcohol, everything that evening has impacted. Lost his way. Last time I was mentioning we kind of saw a lack of good judgment along the way. Again, feeling very kind of invincible and he can do it. And I don't mean that out of arrogance, but a lot of, at that age, you're still kind of like, no, I can do this. And life starts to show you how you can't do it. And actually life starts hammering you on the head until eventually some of us come to actually lose our confidence in actually doing stuff that are normal throughout our day. We have the 10 of Cups again, you know, and this is the card that holds me on to a positive outcome. But there's the third party, okay? There's something going wrong. This could be an exchange going wrong. What I did want to ask as well is the 2 men that he went to the B&B with, how old were they? Were they around his age? I presume a little bit older. Let's say up to 25. But if we're looking at older than that, then I'm not sure if that makes sense. Like, so if there was one that was like 30s and one that's a bit in their 20s, okay, kind of like, you all right, bud, do you want to come over and stuff like, and he doesn't realize how far it is, and they were all off their head. There is something that doesn't go according to plan here. There there is an exchange. This could be an exchange on that evening, you know, where they're, I don't know, buying whatever they're taking, in general, party, GRUGs, but something doesn't go right here, okay? And I wonder if he's also just taken a bit too much of what he shouldn't. Definitely with the case of mixing stuff, it doesn't even have to be that someone's given you something not right intentionally, but that could have also happened. But again, you're looking at someone who contacted Lucy apparently and said he seemed like he must have been in his right mind. Why this is causing so much drama is because, and I forgot what I was going to say at the beginning, but Spirit reminds me as I'm channeling, when a missing case, there's always stuff like J19 has been missing in Tenerife. He was last seen wearing a blue t-shirt, navy shorts, black, I don't know, something. If you see him, but I have not seen, but I haven't seen the news much, so I could be wrong. If you see him, this is what he's wearing, he's this tall, he's this thick, his weight is this. I don't see that. That's usually the opening on each thing or at the end. And I don't seem to see that, but like I said, I've only seen a few, like, it's not 2 clips, so I would say a few. And he's definitely there's missing a bigger picture here, all right? Again, I mentioned about looking at the bank card if there's been any transaction. I get the police are looking into a recovery, but they're a bit sus on if there's been any kind of communication or deals that could have happened that evening that helped lead to his whereabouts. Okay, again, this is like he's no longer in, it's possible that he's no longer in a building, which we were getting originally. Okay, there is, by the way, I don't know if other psychics are getting the death card, but I feel like they won't be because there's a blocked energy, and you need to really understand to take that risk to kind of read and feel into where we're at, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the there is some trail that they will be able to see further, you know, what has happened within, whenever they find him, what has happened within this period of time. They will be able to see that, okay? And again, last time we had a Queen of Pentacles, here is a King of Pentacles, and there's a significant chapter basically for him right now, which we kind of know, but I just wanted to put it out there. Like I said, before I read on these cards, I knew that the first 3 cards was really kind of like the energy and what Spirit wanted to say. but I want it to go and see what else we get. And sometimes you can't help what Spirit, so maybe we ask a question and Spirit's like, well, I want you to get this out, all right, I want you to mention this, as opposed to maybe what answer I would like right now. What I do want to do is I do want to check in just the energy on the two guys he was with the night before. Now, what this means is that he could, just making sure they're upright before anyone says anything, okay. Let me pull the cards out and then I'll let you know. It's interesting, in this read we get more male energy. In the first read we got a lot of female, but there was two males that said they might have, that might come forward to say they've seen him, but there's confusion there on whether it's actually him. And this might relate to the ones that, you know, the CCTV, or the ones that spoke to him outside the church on the bench. Because could you remember I was saying there's something significant that comes out about a church, or religious building, or something to do along those lines. There was confusion, so they're in sort of the energy. Now, they're not the two that apparently, I think they flew back to Britain already. So let's just check on the energy of those two, that Jay went back to their B&B in Masca. Okay, so let's see their energy. It would have been the 17th of June, the two guys. So the two guys have seen that. So this is true that the police did investigate them, or speak to them. I think that's been in the news, hasn't it? You'll have to let me know in the comments, but I get it here. All right, they were spoken to. That evening, a downward turn happened, and we can know because of Jay being missing. They too had certain choices that what they were making that evening, all right? And maybe it was around inviting Jay over or not. And had they not invited Jay, they wouldn't have been involved, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't know why I'm getting something about a jack of all trades, but I don't see in these 4 cards so far, I don't see a malicious energy. I see that there's been a downward turn of events from inviting Jay over. The police have spoken to them. So although I'm asking about them, this is what Spirit wants me to confirm. So this is interesting because I get like Jay was the youngest. Then there was someone who's a bit older, and there's someone that's older than Jay but younger than the elder one. So I don't know what that means, right? There was an exchange of whatever, right? You can understand what I'm saying. There was an exchange. I mean, sometimes you don't go to people's houses and they're like, you can have a free, I don't know, something, you can have a free little smoke or something. Sometimes it'll be like, we've got a stash if you want to buy, but you're chilling at our house or something like that. So I won't be surprised if this Six of Wands, but as I pick it up, I put it in reverse. The Eight of Wands, okay, and the Nine of Swords. Just give me a moment to tune in. The thing is, if something went bad that evening with these people, he would have told Lucy surely, right? What I don't understand, if one of them didn't see eye to eye with Jay on something, why Jay didn't actually say that to Lucy? Or is she holding that part back? This is kind of stuck energy, not moving forward. This is also paranoia. This is lacking in a higher sort of knowledge of using your higher wisdom to move forward in the right direction, and instead you move forward with fear and paranoia. And this could be Jay then wandering off, okay? The King of Wands comes in, the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups in our last read was the lady from the bus stop that he asked. So who else did he see as a King of Wands? But in addition, I'm getting that he didn't see, he's this, but he saw himself as this. Not in an arrogant kind of way, but he felt like he could kind of have a bit of an invincible, he could get through. But I also think when I tap into his energy, there was going to strike a panic. And that's him wondering whether to wait or to continue. The Empress, the Four of Swords, the Fool. You see how we've got the Four of Swords, the Fool. And I think I mentioned in the first or second read, I do think he communicated or sent a message or a photo to his mother. Had a clash with someone, Knight of Pentacles. There's that home that had him. There's the two people that had seen him. The Ten of Cups comes out, but it's a stuck situation. The police are looking into trying to move forward. King of Cups, is this his dad? Hang on a sec. I think his dad is getting a bit impatient. I could be wrong, let me know. His dad is getting impatient right now. Waiting, just kind of getting impatient that his son should have been found by now. There's going to be a lot of defensive energy, and the Lovers is here, all right? So the defensive energy is this choices, because then we get the Ten of Swords and the Judgment card. Okay, again, there's going to be a significant choice they make, by the way, with regards to the outcome of Jay or moving forward. That is what is coming up right now. And you see me just pulling the cards for you so that you can see how I'll interpret as I channel. So a significant choice is going to be coming up with regards to Jay, and this might tap into what I said in the beginning, right? There's an element of the final judgment of this that I believe some people are not going to be happy with. Look. This is about home. This is about past happy memories, the past also. And then we've got this card. Who was involved in the meantime? That's what's hidden. But there should be a clarity coming forward on how eventually he was outside, the hidden truths around the bad and the things that were happening, and the third party involvement, which I mentioned. And this is why I said I don't know what other psychics are saying, but I believe I put my neck on the line in my readings, and I said there was going to be a shift. So when is this going to be? We need to see. I think there might have been, out of these two men, okay, do you know, Ray might have found like one of them wasn't his cup of tea. Was these two straight men, by the way, or were they gay? And I don't mean cup of tea that Ray was attracted to them, but do you know if like one of them, do you know when it gets a bit of jealousy or something? But I think it's more to do with, I can hook you up with some great stuff and we can spend a few hours. Did he actually send that Snapchat picture? Yes, he did. I got a double confirmation. There's a Snapchat picture, or a picture of him holding a cigarette, isn't it? Did Jay send it? Yes. Yes. So let's see how this case develops. And let's hope he is found. I've given significant timelines, but let's hope for a better outcome. Like I said, I think people are going to start comparing this. Even now, I feel the energy to the Riley Strain case in the US. I also feel, I pray to God this is still recording. 1 second. Thank God. I've done whole reads and it's not. I also think, you know, Caleb Harris, that the body, I think the body's been found now, what is one of those cases that is not going to get his full justice unless his family inquire further and really get to the bottom of some of it. But let's see. What I do want to check right now, I want to ask if Lucy said anything to the mum to give a bit of an insider. Yes, so I've got 2 cards out of 3, and I wanted 3. If you notice, a lot of the time I asked for 3. And I feel like Lucy has indicated to the mother something, and it could be like one of the guys in the car that he went with is actually a dealer or has a lot of money, or I'm giving you examples. That doesn't sit well with me. But she said something to the mother that she's not told the police. This could be like, I think so and so is involved, I think he's lost, I think this, I think that. All right. I also get the car is significant, which a car did take him, but whether they go back to the rental company or whether his phone is pinged in another car, but also, you know, a car had picked him up before this time frame has lapsed too far long. But again, I'm a humble psychic, and I believe God knows the exact timing for something. So where I see in the future, maybe we're still at a rescuable time, and I'm still seeing the 23rd in my head. Okay, so that's, and you saw how I said the number 15 is significant, and we got the 15th card that I pulled. So I hope this reading I don't know how to say you enjoy, but you understand what I'm saying. And let's hope Jay is found. Yeah, I'm going to leave it for there. Let's just pray and just kindness, you know, regardless of what we think of people. And I kind of did this read because I think a lot of people might start speculating even innocent people. And I mean, it could be anyone. I don't mean necessarily like anyone who's been investigated. I don't necessarily mean Lucy. It could, or the family. I mean anyone who is actually truly innocent, who, you know, people might start speculating against. To me, I think that GoFundMe is madness. Absolutely crazy, but that's just me. All right, everyone, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.